Well, welcome to Hockey on Tap Podcast. This is episode 80. I'm your host, Bill Dean. I'm here with my two co-hosts, Little Steve and Schwim. We're brought to you by Primetime Radio, courtesy of Mr. Samu and myself. And you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube,
Did you say Bugle?
Google.
I love those.
No, I said Google. Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Please leave us a 5-star review if you would be so kind. Boys, what are we drinking?
Something can start before me because
I also got a
repeat.
squeaker. I got a squeaker
I'll go
hanging
last.
out over
What
here
was
on the floor.
You want me to go first, get mine out of the way since it's the same old stuff I'm
You're
drinking the
not
last
original, huh?
Your nightmare
That's
again.
all I got. That's all I have in my fridge because I'm trying to get rid of my nightmares. This one is called... Thank you.
That's
this
true.
one's called
That's also true.
Blowing from a Gun.
Oh, no.
What
else?
What
I
the
don't
hell
know
does that
what
mean?
you're talking about.
It's literally called blowing from a gun.
Yep.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means either. Like, is that
I can give you a long history lesson, but it's gonna be long.
like what blows from a gun? No, let's hear it. I mean, we're in
person.
the
It's
drinking
basically
game.
they shove
Your
all the
love gun?
stuff into a cannon, and then they tie a person to the end of it and blow them to smithereens. Yeah.
So wait, you put them
Wow.
in the cannon, or you put them in front
They're
of
on
the
like the
cannon?
outside of the cannon. They're tied to the, the barrel or whatever of the cannon. And
Yeah, but how would that blow them up? Because the shot goes out the front.
they're at the barrel end of it. It's all going.
Oh no,
right
no. So they're
at them.
they're in front of the gun, basically.
Yeah. But they're like tied
Oh,
to
alright.
it. They're like right against it, is what.
Yeah. Well,
So it's very much
sounds like
destroying
fun.
you.
doesn't that sound
This is
like fun?
it's a 10.5% double IPA with Indian cane sugar.
Ooh, I mean that's
Yeah.
always top notch.
And you can guess what kind of torture this was. It was a Russian type of torture.
Oh wow.
They're probably still used to this day.
Probably.
Maybe, yeah. I was listening to a podcast or something, and one of the guys was in the army, and he said that him and his buddies did like Chinese water torture, waterboarding to themselves just to see what it was like, and they're like, yeah, it's like drowning. I'm like, well, I don't think that would be fun to do
No.
in any respect. I couldn't imagine that sticking yourself to a cannon would be a fun experience either.
I don't think they voluntarily do that.
Yeah, I think it was,
obviously,
punishment.
I know that.
We should try it just to see what we're doing to people
to like
and
like a
report
Nerf,
back when you're done.
a Nerf cannon. Yeah. All right, Stevie Guy, what are you drinking?
I have my last can of Bolero Snort Oops No Lactose, which still has no lactose.
I mean, if it fermented lactose, I'd be pretty impressed.
If it grew lactose, which I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised with Bolero Snort. IPA with lime zest. That's all it says. It's pretty good. If you can find some.
Lime zest is
pick it up.
delicious.
It is Juicy Pebbles without lactose. For those of you who were curious. I probably said that last time, but I'm saying it again.
Yep. We at obviously Sarah's first birthday party this past weekend, we had some pretty decent beers, but like the one we had with the lime and the guava was pretty good. Yeah, you're just gonna slouch.
Breckenridge, right?
am, yep, because I'm going back to being a lactard. This is by Icarus. 5 years of flying. It's an imperial Berliner style Weiss with
Speaking of
blackberry,
lactose and
plum,
everything.
red raspberry, and milk sugar.
There you go.
Yeah, Icarus is a big fan of milk sugar. They always have been.
Yeah, I really do hate that they do that. I mean, it does. I really don't think it adds anything to the beer, which is just disappointing. But
Beer connoisseurs will get them going on lactose in beer. If you ever want to hear somebody go off on how horrible lactose in beer is, for the sake of beer, I don't know why so many do it. It's such a crazy trend. I don't know. I mean, it is marketing
frothy,
to
right?
people who. It makes it creamy, not frothy. It adds like a creamy feel to it. So
it's so dumb. Like
milk
there's no
stouts.
point.
Traditionally, like a milk stout. When you had a milk stout, it was like friggin' drinking like a milkshake or something. That's when they first used it, and then they started to experiment more, and now it's just in everything. Can't get an IPA without it. Can't get a sour without it.
It really is disappointing because
it's
no
big
need.
in New Jersey.
But
what's the substitute for that then? If they just don't use it at all, or they substitute something in for it?
Well, I mean, the argument is that you don't need it at all because you have similar beers without it, and it like the fruited sours and stuff that have no lactose. There's really no difference. If anything, it's too sweet because that's more sugar on top of the fruit that's already in it. But as far as the creaminess goes, I mean, cream ales are creamy and are never brewed with lactose. I don't know the brewing process of a cream ale. I think it's just like the way that they do it. But Dogfish did it perfectly with Hazy O, and they use oat milk. And however many other types of oats in that particular beer, that beer is fantastic. But they created a real creaminess to their beer by just using oat milk. And obviously, it's much more sustainable, and you're not adding a allergen to it. I feel like this is our conversation. You need to stop. If you could just eliminate lactose from your beers on just this podcast, Dean, you would save me a lot of time.
It's all my fault.
It's always you bringing the lactose to the damn podcast.
That's great. All right,
I'm done.
Let's get.
I'm not going on my rant anymore.
So we also wanted to talk about what's it called? The Razzies?
So yeah, I guess on the subject of potentially going into the All-Star game and award ceremonies, right? Well, I guess there weren't really awards there. But I was reading up on the Razzies. For those of you that don't know, the Razzie nominations were announced today, because I think the Oscars are being announced tomorrow. The Razzies, if you don't know what they are, they're the Golden Raspberry Award, which is awarded basically the polar opposite of the Oscars. It goes to, the Oscars are to the best films, best actors, so on and so forth. This goes to the worst of the year's films. And, I actually haven't heard of a lot of them.
Real quickly, I clicked on this link, and it's LA Times. The Razzies think Bruce Willis was bad enough to earn his own award category
exactly,
this year.
That's exactly where I'm getting at. So this year, the awards are whatever, and I'm sure they're well-deserved, but this year, brand new to the Razzies, is the worst performance in a Bruce Willis film award, because apparently he was in 8. He was in 8 films this year, and they were all terrible. So the award is just the list of the 8 movies and his role in all 8 of them. And
he was in a movie called Cosmic Sin. I've never even heard of it.
I didn't hear of any of the movies he was in.
The choices are
stream.
The choices are Willis in American Siege, Apex, Cosmic Sin, Deadlock, Fortress, Midnight in the Switchgrass, Out of Death, or Survive the Game. I haven't heard of one of those movies.
No.
They're all in the one calendar year.
Oh my God! Took just 8 days to shoot. American Siege took just 8 days to shoot and wrapped up after only 1 day. That's gotta be awesome.
We gotta watch that movie then.
Yeah, we gotta watch this movie.
Something happened somewhere along the lines. I mean, Bruce Willis was never a great actor. He was a good action star. We all enjoyed those movies, those diehards. But I don't know. Is this inevitable for an action star to just fall into? There's no other action star who had their own category, but I mean, I guess he's still trying to work, right? Good for him. He's still getting cast in things. He's still getting paid, but it's just that's incredible. His own award.
Apparently, so the Razzie said it followed in the Oscars' footsteps and once again nominated non-traditional releases, meaning stuff that is released only on streaming services. Hence the inclusion of Netflix's Diana the Musical. I mean, that sounds terrible as is. The Woman in the Window.
Apparently it's on Broadway. It was apparently a huge flop on Broadway, so they decided to make a movie.
Why not? BT Viacom's Karen. Well, that sounds fantastic.
Oh, I think I saw the trailer for that. It looked hilarious.
Infinite from Paramount. Among the worst picture nominees, Space Jam: A New Legacy, which got a simultaneous release in theaters and on HBO Max. Yeah, it was atrocious. The biggest winner in terms of overall number of nominations is Diana the Musical with 9 nods.
Yeah, it's apparently really quite awful. You know what else is kind of funny? That first of all, the movie, I haven't seen it. I've only seen trailers for The Last Duel, which looks awful.
I wanted to see that. That's what's Matt Damon,
Matt Damon movie.
I mean, it makes sense that you want to see it. But
Yeah.
Ben Affleck was nominated for Worst Supporting Actor in that film. And I'm just like, yeah, of course he was.
Of course he was.
I didn't even know Damon was in it. I mean, Affleck was in it.
Yeah, he's a supporting actor, apparently. And I'm sure it's terrible.
Well,
all right, enough of the Razzies.
I mean, pretty
I thought that was
stuff.
funny, though.
I just lost a shark tooth somewhere.
I have Melvin on my T-shirt. Thanks, Schwim.
You're welcome.
Oh, nice.
I have Hedman to my.
I see him.
I do see them. All right, now that I collected
Adventures in Babysitting.
Yeah, no,
that's a classic.
Starring William Dean.
I don't know. Beth
starring William
was
Dean.
Supposed to be here, but I guess she's still not here. All right, well, let's get to what's on tap for today's episode. Here's our weekly snapshot. Rocky Wirtz, UPOS.
What can we say about you that hasn't already been said?
I mean, other podcasts and other media outlets will be a little nicer. Like, what's he doing? No, he's just a piece of shit. And
oh my God, he said the S word. All right.
Yeah, we did. We watched an old fart basically lash out. People try to stop him, and because he's so powerful, no one ends it. It was shocking that Wirtz was set off so greatly. I thought he just all of a sudden snapped. His son Danny tries to interject, and he's immediately shut down by his dad.
Yep.
Sounded like he actually almost sounded like he was the one victimized. He was so upset, and which is crazy, but. He demeaned the panel, which included his son and a very good behind-the-scenes employee in Jamie Faulkner. You see Eddie O there, and he is in 1,000-yard stare. Looks like
he's mortified.
He'd love to be anywhere else in the moment. And I mean, the biggest thing, right, is the fans of Chicago. You were hoping that at the press conference he might, interject something positive or talk about what they're trying to do to make the organization a better working workplace, and how they can ensure that kids that come here are treated better and safely, and how can fans trust this organization now?
Well, I know the fans were in a huge there's a huge reaction from the fan base, which was well deserved, and good for them for recognizing not having the blinders on because this is the team you've been following, but recognizing it. But I do think, what you were saying, I think Gretzky was on ESPN and said it best. He said, his quote is, "As a parent, you're sitting there going, my son's 18 years old. He's going to maybe be drafted by that team. I want to know my 18-year-old son's going to be protected." And he's absolutely right. And, it literally was such a softball question to Rocky Wirtz to answer, and he just lost his mind. And
he
of
took
course,
it the complete wrong way that he should have.
I don't even think he took it the wrong way. That we saw who he is. There was no filter. That was his immediate reaction to that question, and that's who he is. And that's what we found out. And I don't want to say it's the entirety of the organization, because you saw everybody on stage there. No one was on board with him. So he is, unfortunately, he's the most powerful person in the organization. But
and he's actually one of the more powerful people in the NHL. It's actually, he's that whole family.
I mean,
look at the NHL for
the Chicago franchise is one of the highest grossing, right? They have to as one of the richest, most attendance. I mean, one of the most popular nationwide. I mean, we even talked about the sport before when I mentioned that I went to the Dallas Stars game and it was a Penguins game. They mentioned the attendance, and they said that when Chicago comes to play, it's 60-40 Chicago. So that's, I'm sure, throughout the entire country in places that we're not even sure about. That's how popular of an organization they are. And this was just I don't know. I feel like the reaction from the panel on stage was basically, I think, the most appropriate thing that happened there. Yeah, it was shocking, and there was no stopping him, and he's just.
He apologized.
I don't know where you go from
saying he was saying it he was frustrated or something like that. Because I'm assuming he had to answer that question a couple times. So what? Okay, I understand. You get tired of answering the same question over and over and over again. But this is a legitimate, extremely serious, circumstance that you're talking about. It's not just they lost the game and then they keep asking you about you lost the game or something like that. This is
where you have
really
or you have
serious.
You have a player that's unhappy. When are you going to trade him? And
Or
like
something,
everybody
yeah.
asks, like
Like,
that, I can understand frustration for that. This is
Yeah, but this is like, okay, yeah, you're getting maybe the same question over and over again, but it's like you can't. The way he took that is just so. It's just wrong,
bad.
and it's really bad, and it really shows what kind of piece of shit, to take Dean's term, that he is.
No, I mean, you really wish that the NHL could get guys like this out of the league, and Bettman just kind of almost turned a blind eye to it. He
apologized next day though, so it's okay. He said he was frustrated, and that's why he acted like that. Get the hell out of here.
Nah, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's an old boys club, and as long as you have money and power, and you did something in the league back in the '60s, you're okay. And it's just frustrating because clearly, you're trying to. I mean, as a non-fan of the Blackhawks, it's such a good organization, and they actually did some, like Jamie Faulkner talked about how, as a because they know they're in a rebuilding phase, and they're in this whole, they have a bunch of issues. So they even said that, next season for season ticket holders, they weren't even going to make them pay for preseason games, which is actually a pretty big thing for fans. You don't want to go to a preseason game. You don't want to have to pay for them. Mm-hmm. So, they was kind of amenable to the fans. And then he goes and has, a hissy fit, whatever you want to call it. And basically, shows that he has, autonomy, and he does not care about anything but, whatever he wants to talk about or, put forth in the media. And like you said, Gretzky commented on it, and, how would he feel if his son was drafted by the Hawks? And everyone, I'm pretty sure, wouldn't be very happy about it. There's,
if that happened to his son or somebody, in his family or somebody, like, how would he feel? Would he still feel that same way? I don't think so.
It's unfortunate that you have to, and I say this all the time. A lot of people have said it, so I'm definitely not the originator of this. But when there's a rape accusation and people try to push it out, brush it under the rug, and you're like, what is that? What if that was your daughter? What if that was your sister? Like, you shouldn't have to tell that to somebody.
No,
like that shouldn't have to be the mindset. Knowledge. Like it's a human freaking being, right? It's like you shouldn't have to be like, well, I only care because it's my daughter. Like, no, it's that mentality is complete trash.
Yep. And then lastly on the Hawks, just because I don't really want to keep talking about these guys, but they get even dumber, and they're looking to hire Peter Chiarelli as their GM.
I hope they do. Honestly, I hope they do. Because that means good news for the rest of us.
Good job, Kirby Doc.
We're getting some good players.
Yeah. Him of the ever-famous Blake Wheeler trade, Tyler Seguin trade, Thomas Caberly trade, Ryan Spooner trade, Eberle trade, the Taylor Hall trade, the Reinhart trade where he dealt a first and a second for Griffin Reinhart. I mean, the guy is perennially terrible. And, yeah, it's great for the rest of the league because you can just call up your buddy and be like, hey, Peter, I heard Kirby Doc's available. Can I give you –
Alex DeBrincat, I don't think wants to play there anymore. Oh, really? Okay, I better trade him.
Yeah. Do you like Jacob Trouba? Because I have a great deal for you. But I mean, so actually, it was funny because I was looking up all of his trades, and I get to a site called, it's NHL Trade Tracker, and it has worst trades in NHL history, and it gives you like examples. The Capitals giving away Phil Forsberg for Marty Urat and Michael Latta. But then it also goes trades by GM, which is pretty cool. So you can actually look at different GMs and the trades they've made. And I was going down a rabbit hole because I was like, oh man, Rangers trades and seeing, and there's some pretty bad ones. But there's been a lot of pretty terrible ones. Like there's a good one for the Rangers on here. Montreal Canadiens acquire Tom Pyatt, Scott Gomez, and Michael Busto. They in turn get Christopher Higgins, Doug Janik, Pavel Valentenko, and future captain Ryan McDonough.
Yep.
Yeah. So pretty. I mean, let's see. Can I find a?
I didn't know he wasn't drafted. He wasn't drafted by the Rangers. McDonough?
No, McDonough was traded. Yeah,
for
Scott Gomez. For Scott Gomez.
It's another
Thank you, Scotty.
elite defenseman that Montreal traded away.
Yeah,
elite young defenseman, I should say.
Yep.
Yeah, there's some bad ones. Here, let's see. Can I? Obviously,
and Petrie might be out the door now, right?
Yep. The Toronto Maple Leafs.
I don't know. I just know that he's a trade candidate.
Yeah. They have the Maple Leafs acquiring Andrew Raycroft for Tuukka Rask. Very good trade.
I remember that
That's
one.
a good one.
Chris Pronger going to the Edmonton Oilers for Eric Brewer, Doug Lynch, and Jeff Wojcicki.
Former Tampa Lightning, Eric Brewer.
Yep. Another good Ranger trade, Anson Carter, the Capitals for Jaromir Jagr. Mark Savard.
It is funny that Jagr was traded twice. Both times they were horrible trades. Both times the organization got Jagr and basically got him for free because they didn't give up a damn thing.
Petry's got 4 more years and a no movement clause.
Petry?
Apparently he's
$6.25 million.
Requested a trade.
All right, couple more trades just because I'm now on this one. Flames acquire Ruslan Zainalin for Mark Savard for the Thrashers. The Tampa Bay Lightning acquired Dan Boyle for a 5th-round pick.
Nice.
Here's Steven's guy. Jaromir Jagr goes to the Washington Capitals for Chris Beach, Ross Lepeshek, Michael Civic, and future considerations.
Yeah, Beach was supposed to be something, and nope. Nope, he wasn't.
And then, just because I'm a real big Islanders fan, here's 2 trades for you. The New York Islanders acquire Alexei Yashin. He actually was not bad for the Islanders, but
didn't they just finish paying him?
They traded Zdeno Chara.
Are they still paying him?
They were still paying him. I don't know. They had traded Zdeno Chara and their 1st-round pick, which was number 2 overall. Do you know who that was, that forward?
No.
One Jason Spezza.
Okay.
So they traded away Chara and Spezza for Yashin. And then, like I said, because I'm a big fan of the New York Islanders, they get Oleg Kavasha and Mark Parrish, and guess who they traded? Ole Jokinen and Roberto Luongo.
Luongo, yep.
Great trade.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure Mark Parrish isn't Mark Parrish an analyst somewhere?
Yeah, and
he's for the Islanders,
he was on the NHL Network for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
also,
one for the
Tampa Lightning.
One for the Penguins to be happy about. They trade Glenn Murray to the LA Kings. Who'd you get back, Steve Gay?
Robitaille.
No, Eddie Olczyk.
Oh yeah.
Eddie O. Nice.
I don't know how they acquired Robitaille. They also traded away Marcus Naslund.
Yes,
Let's
they did.
not talk about that one.
Yeah, not a good one. I mean, Rangers have done some really dumb stuff too, so I can't. There's nothing on here that, you look through some of these trades, like Naslund for Alex Stojanov.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. The Ducks getting Teemu Solane for Oleg Tverdovsky. Dominic Hasek for Stefan Beauregard. That was a great one. Good job, Chicago Blackhawks. The Devils actually having a good one, trading Tom Curvers for the number 3 overall pick in 1991. Which defenseman did they select?
Niedermeyer?
One Scott Niedermeyer. Yep.
Nerdmeyer, nice.
Blues getting Brett Hull for Rob Ramage. Cam Neely to the Bruins for Barry Peterson. Great trade. Let's see. Guy Lafleur for Ernie Hick. That makes sense.
Good old Ernie.
All right. Oh, good old Ernie.
Mark Donk. Who did you get traded for originally?
No, he's still there. He was drafted. He's still there.
All right. Talking about something good. Olympic women's hockey. Unfortunately, Brianna Decker is out for the USA team, but the women are rolling. Canada, the big game tonight, 10:45, which I'm probably going to be asleep for, but I would love to
watch. I'm going to try to watch that.
U.S. Canada, the first of most likely 2 matchups. You have the 2 best teams in the tournament, and it's not even close. They're most likely going to face off in the championship game, but this at least gives you a little preview. These 2 teams, I mean, I was watching this whole thing, leading up to it, and these 2 teams hate each other, which is awesome because
that is good.
This might be the best rivalry in all of sports because the 2 teams have won 27 of the last 29 tournaments. Women won in 98. Canada had a 4-time run from, 02, 06, 2010, 14, and then 18. And then the women won in 18. In Sochi, I was watching some of their games and, just star-studded lineups. They have so many great players from, Ken Schofield, Hillary Knight, Abby Roque, who's the big-time upcoming phenom. Their goaltenders are solid. Their defenseman Carpenter is fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I've had so much fun watching women's hockey, and you watch some of Team Canada, and they're playing right now, better than the U.S. I think, but I think the U.S. is going through a little motions, and then they're going to come into Canada, and it's going to be a
Canadian
fun game.
women just played an entire game wearing N95, so I think anybody complaining about mask wearing ruining their day, that's mighty impressive.
I forgot who's it that they played. They
played Russia. There was a
weren't they waiting on
the short version? Well, no, Canada refused to take the ice. Canada refused to take the ice because Russia kind of didn't legitimately submit their testing. So they were kind of trying to skip steps basically in the testing prior to the game. So Canada refused to play. And I guess they were working things out. And when they were working things out, both teams came out in N95s and they were playing. Whatever happened, Russia ended up taking them off before the third period and playing the third period without. But the Canadian women played the entire game wearing N95s and smoked them 6-1, I believe. So yeah,
lengthy delay. Yep. Sarah Nurse is awesome on that team. Their goaltenders, been a standout the whole tournament. The 3 games they played, or 2 games, 3 games they played, but. It's gonna be a fun game, and I can't wait to watch that in the morning. I'll
probably gonna have to watch highlights.
Yeah. I mean, it just you watch all the girls watching it, and I see it in the hockey arenas getting played, and you see Team USA jerseys. It's awesome, and I know my little girl is eventually gonna play and hopefully be the first woman drafted in the NHL. But it's a
dream
cool
big
thing, and it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Or go home.
Yeah, or go home. Shrimp should go home.
I kind of would rather go home. I am home.
Or go to
stay
sleep.
home.
You guys want to talk about the All-Star game? Our fun thing.
I mean, we could briefly touch on it because it really wasn't
1 second of the skills or the All-Star game.
No, so I put it on at the table I put it on at the table at the brewery we went to on Saturday. Shout out to Ramstein Brewery, which was very cool little place. Good. Also, High Point Brewery, I guess. Beers are good. Atmosphere's cool. It really is a small little place, but they kind of make it like a beer garden, Ramstein. So it's pretty cool. We enjoyed ourselves. The skills competition.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we can have an entire just ripping this thing, and we kind of touched base on it last week. And Ray Leo, I was just getting into that. It looks like the NHL put no effort into it, which I agree. They basically just, ran the same crap. They're like, okay, let's 2 more skills competition, 2 more events in the skills competition, which the blackjack one was that was entertaining. The fountain one was fine, but took entirely too long. And then, you get an event like that took, I don't know, that was like 15, 20 minutes or something, and then you get to the hardest shot, which is like one of the most exciting ones in the skills competition every year. And they picked, I don't know how they picked the players that they picked, with the exception of Hedman, and it was over in like 3.5 minutes. It's just like 4 guys take 2 shots and bye. Okay, we're done with the hardest shot. And Hedman won. I don't know why. Stamkos would have had a harder shot than Tom Wilson, I'm sure. And Roman Josi, I'm sure, would have had a better shot than Adam Pelech. But, I don't know. Nobody knows what the heck they did. And then, of course, I guess the one event that everybody's talking about, the Breakaway Challenge, Skills Challenge, whatever the hell you want to call it, which was also almost entirely a just massive circus. But Trevor Zegras' actual shot attempt was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. It was cool. That was the only thing I saw. I saw a replay of that.
You don't have to watch anything else because nothing else was impressive. It's all about dressing up, costume, props. That's basically what it is. Which Zegras had. Dodgeball was kind of funny. Mascots came out and threw dodgeballs at him while he was blindfolded. also, but the move that he did was just, I don't know. If you haven't seen it, obviously you had to have seen it because it's basically the only talk of the All-Star game at this point.
Yep.
It is freaking awesome, and that's what we were talking about, Shrim. Like on that specific
and he didn't
challenge,
even win.
Like, no, he finished third, which is even more crazy. I mean, Pietrangelo didn't even score, and then the scoring, of course, it was basically it was a joke. It was obviously a joke. What's his name? John Hamm gave Pietrangelo a 19, and they actually counted it. So obviously there was no proper way of scoring that, but I think Jack Hughes basically got the score he did because he involved a child, and you got to give a child top scores. But Zegras was awesome. That was the highlight, I think, of the entire thing. I watched the whole skills competition. I don't know why. I guess I didn't have anything else to do. And then the All-Star game, of course, was as boring as they get, just like they all are. It's just 3-on-3, nobody trying, nobody really caring. Giroux had a good performance. He won MVP. Metro won, of course. And I think the big loser, in my opinion, from this, well, besides the NHL, but if you got to pick a player that just had a rough time, I think it's Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
I think he had a rough going. I don't know what exactly happened.
So they said he might actually have a knee injury, and he's probably going to be out for a couple of games now. So that's great. He lost the fastest skater to Jordan Kyrou, who's actually looks like he has a rocket.
Didn't somebody else beat him also? Didn't he finish like third?
Yeah, I don't have the full.
I don't remember.
Yeah, Adrian Kempe. Yeah. Oh, and Kreider also was faster.
He had two guys that beat him.
Yeah, Kyrou, Kempe, Kreider, McDavid, Cale Makar, Kyle Connor, Dylan Larkin, and then Kuznetsov.
Jeez.
So Kyrou does well. The save streak, Vassie and Jack Campbell each had 9 saves.
That was also stupid. Usually that was individual. They paired it this time, I guess, to make it shorter.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cutting corners in Vegas.
The fountain face-off. Did you see that?
Yeah.
What was
that? It's basically a saucer. It was basically like the sauce. They call it sauce toss. That game.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? It was basically that. Yeah. But they were in the middle of the fountain, on a platform, and then there was a platform with a net. You had to shoot it in the net, and then you had to saucer it into little platforms, and then 2 larger platforms.
Yeah, they traveled to a boat to the rink and had to shoot 5 pucks into 5 targets in the least amount of time.
Apparently, it was very cold.
Final was Werenski and Roman Josi.
Wait, so they didn't do the classic shooting at the targets in the corners of the nets?
No, they did do
the accuracy.
That.
Yeah,
still did that.
Yeah.
They still did. Okay. Yeah. Who won that?
Jabroni.
I'm pretty sure Ray Leo. I'm pretty sure Dean made this comment pre broadcasting the podcast, saying, "Is that a Haley Joel Osment pillow behind you?"
Yeah, I said that. I said it looks like Haley Joel
Osment. That's awesome.
That's actually Victor Hedman. But we all can see the resemblance.
That's what I said. I'm like, this is true. He looks like Haley Joel Osment.
That's great.
Which I'm fine with.
Hedman won the hardest shot at 103.2. The next hardest was Adam Pelech at 102.2, apparently. I didn't think he had 102.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Hedman is the first Swedish player to win the hardest shot challenge since who, Schwim? Former Tampa Bay Lightning.
Another Swede, Freddie Modin.
Freddie Modin, 2001. He's also the third straight defenseman to win the competition. It still doesn't come close to Zdeno Chara's record of 108.8, which is just absolutely crazy. Breakaway challenge, stupid Pietrangelo. They also had Kirill Kaprizov did Ovi's
Ovi jerseys. So what did he do? He put on an Ovi jersey and just shot.
Discussion. He put on an Ovi jersey and shot with, I think, Ovi's stick because he used a righty stick. And then it's when he scored, he did his celebration that the stick's on fire.
Yeah.
Of course. And then they played the game of 21 blackjack on on the strip.
That was actually pretty cool.
Matthews,
Pavelski
Tkachuk,
was impressive.
Pavelski, McKinnon and Stammer. And Pavelski won. Of course, he wins everything. And then let's see here.
Who the hell won accuracy?
Accuracy shooting was Sebastian Aho, 10.9 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. He went
beat out
4 for 4.
He beat out Gensel.
Yeah, Gensel went 4 for 5. Gensel would have beaten him, but he missed his fourth attempt and then hit it on the fifth.
And I like that they put the styrofoam. I like they did the styrofoam again, where they just explode when the puck.
Yeah, that's what you want to see.
And remember they did that stupid plexiglass thing? Was the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah,
it was so dumb,
terrible.
But the pucks were terrible, also with the skills competition. But we won't talk about that. It was just we'll just end it. It was just terrible.
So quickly, Metro beat the Central in the first game 5-3. Central beat the Atlantic 8-5.
Take that, Swim.
8-5, and then Metro beat the Pacific 6-4 in the final. Yeah, Shrim's team sucks. Let's put it that way.
Hey, I'm glad I didn't watch.
Suck that, Schwim.
See a bunch of jabronis out there.
We talked about Drew the MVP. Obviously, pretty good showing. Bruins, Avs, Wild all interested in him. Jack Hughes now in COVID protocol.
Yep.
So that sucks for them. And there was talks, which everyone was kind of looking forward to, that Jack Eichel might be involved in the All-Star game at some point. And people were saying, hey, maybe it's Alex Pietrangelo goes off and out comes Eichel in his jersey and he takes the shot for him instead. And that would have obviously wooed the crowd. But nothing kind of happened. There is talks that he could be cleared this week to begin skating with the team and non-contact and getting back out there. So pretty cool.
He's been skating in a regular jersey, I think, but I don't know.
Yeah, but now non-contact and you can actually take it. In GM news, Patty Verbeek looks like he's the new Ducks GM. He of the Yzerman tree. His first thing of business would probably be Hampus Lindholm, who's looking for a new contract. He's an UFA end of the year. They're talking about 8x9 for him. 8 years, $9 million per. I know Lindholm's really great, but that seems extremely high.
Seems excessive.
Obviously, we'll see what he has to do with Ricard Raquel, Josh Manson, who there's talks with him going to Toronto, and then John Gibson. Do they keep their tender, or obviously he's working around Jamie Drysdale and Trevor Zegras. Yeah, you guys. And he's looking around this, but I think you got to keep your goaltender. I really do think he's one of the guys you want to duel around.
As long as he wants to stay. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Anything you guys got on that, or anything that we previously talked about? I got some other things real fast.
If they get rid of Gibson, who the hell is going to be his replacement? They have nobody in their pipeline, I don't think, right? Well, is Stolarz over there still, or?
Yeah, he's there, but he's not.
He's not young.
He's not their future, but he's a solid backup, very solid backup.
Yeah, he's not.
And he's just one of those goalies that some of these goalies are just really good backups, and they have great stats, and people are like, oh, maybe he can be a starter. Look at his stats, but no, they do very, very well as a backup. Maybe 40%, right? They can handle, but you put them in the number one spot, and they don't really excel. Kind of like Anton Khudobin. He did so good in the playoffs. Yes, he did very well there, but he comes back the next year. Bishop's still out, and kind of mediocre.
I'm just trying to see top 10 if they have any goaltending prospects. Obviously, the number one prospect is Mason McTavish, really good center. So they do have this kid Lucas Dostal. He's the goalie in the AHL. Yep, he'll be in the Olympics. He was drafted 2018, third round, 85th overall. He's had a pretty good showing in the AHL, 15-9. So they have some guys in the wings. But Gibson's 28. I didn't even realize that. I thought he was younger. But
he still has some term left.
Signed through 26, 27. So yeah, they could get a big. I mean, you can get a monster. I mean, you should be able to get a monster for John Gibson. So
big time.
If they trade him, hopefully it's for a pretty.
They trade him to the Rangers for Georgiev. So then you have
you
Gibson
son
and
of a you son. Oh wait for Georgiev. Oh, I thought you said
Shesterkin and Gibson, and it completely ruins their goaltending tandem because they can't.
That would be terrible. I don't like that idea at all. I mean, they could just trade for Tampa could trade for him, and then he could just sit behind Vasi the entire time, play the one game every 4 weeks.
Now Tampa just likes the oldest goaltender in the league. That's who Tampa wants as their backup every year.
Yep. Congrats to David Poyle, who is now the winningest GM in NHL history. most wins. So good for Poyle. Been with that. Been with Nashville Predators for forever.
Since they started.
And obviously,
he's the only GM they've ever had.
Yeah. And obviously the Preds are doing really well this season. I believe they are second. Who
would have thunk it?
I don't know. Who would have thought Duchesne would
have
bounced back? Right?
I didn't think they would have been that good.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, I don't know why this just popped in my head. Did you see what's-his-face's goal? Who's the kid that's supposed to go number one?
Connor Bedard.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
No, you see that one goal he scored? Oh, my. He completely undresses the defenseman and then goes between his legs and roofs it.
He uses a 65 flex. I was looking at some of my JV kids' sticks, and they were 65s and 70s. I was like, Jesus, this kid used the same stick.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about that, the between the legs thing that he did he didn't do it just for the sake of going between his legs.
Yeah,
like that was just the motion of his move.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah. Really, the only choice he had was to do that
between
his move, and it was and he just without hesitation, just like it was completely normal.
Yeah,
and roofs it. That kid's gonna be.
He's
gonna be good.
Yeah, he's gonna be really good. All right. Stadium Series was announced. It's gonna be in Carolina this year, next year coming up.
Next year.
And of course, Fenway gets another effing game. You're gonna see the Bruins in another stupid Winter Classic in 2022. There's talks about
it. They were at Fenway already, right?
Year.
Yeah, they've already had it. It's bullshit.
Yeah, but is this the first time they're repeating a venue?
Yeah. The Rangers, unfortunately, the Rangers can't have one, but
I don't get it.
See, the problem is the Rangers can't have one.
I know that there's been repeat teams, but this is the first time they're actually repeating a venue, right? Am I right here?
Yeah, you're right. And there's talks about it being versus the Penguins because obviously now the Fenway group owns the Penguins, so we'll see if that happens. Also, there's another Global Series. The Global Series will return next year.
Maybe they'll unless they bring back their old Winter Classic jersey that looked exactly like the Boston jersey. They can just use that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. The Global Series will be next year. Switzerland, which they're talking about Nashville playing in that because you got a bunch of Swiss guys. Finland, which they could already say the game is going to be Carolina versus Dallas. A lot of Finns, both those teams. And then the Czech Republic. So we'll see if San Jose Sharks or something like that partakes in Czech Republic. We didn't talk about it, or you guys didn't talk about it last week, but Philly blank check with Fletcher staying and the owner basically saying he's going to pay for whatever he needs, and obviously it's a salary cap. But I was interested in what he said the core of the team was. Did you guys read this? What he said the core of the team would be from here on out? Couturier, obviously his contract is ridiculous.
He's a
Kevin
captain,
Hayes,
isn't he? No,
same
sure
thing.
Is a captain. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Couturier
Hayes,
will be a captain.
Yeah, and then he said Ryan Ellis, and he said Joel Farabee, and that was it. He did not call Provorov.
Say Sanheim or Provorov, or
didn't say Sanheim. Right? No Konechny, which was a big one that people were asking about. No Carter Hart, another one. So yeah, we'll see.
If they want Brian Elliott so bad, why don't they just say it? They can have him.
Yeah, exactly.
They can have him back.
So yeah, Philly once again train wreck and continuing. Let's see. Rangers Devils at MetLife. I would love that. Devils would obviously be the home team, but that's not going to happen, unfortunately. All right. We'll go over quickly standings. So sitting right now as we start the quote unquote second half of the season.
Starting tomorrow.
Yeah, starting tomorrow.
Carolina sitting there.
Yeah, there are a bunch of games tonight.
I don't think so.
I thought there was
a bunch.
No, there's like 1 or 2 games tonight, isn't there?
Well, when I say a bunch, I don't mean
that nobody cares about.
Yeah, no one cares about these guys. You got Stutzla,
Maple Leafs,
Ottawa.
Hurricanes. It's pretty.
Oh, you got the Devils.
Sorry, Ray.
That's why
I'm losing 3-1.
Stutzla's up.
Sorry, Ray.
Stutzla
Yikes.
Svechnikov, Carolina plays Toronto. That's 2-1 Toronto. End of 2. So yeah, those are your games. So Carolina sits first in the Metro. Rangers at 2. Carolina's 5 games in hand. They have missed a bunch of games. Pittsburgh number 3, and then Washington sits at 4. You also have Columbus at 41 points, but like we said, this division's pretty much done. You have the 4 teams as they are. Islanders only played 39 games. They've played 8 less than the Rangers. I mean, even if they got 16 points, they're still not. They're 57.
Well, somebody calculated in order for them to have a chance to qualify for the playoffs, they need to win 4 out of every 5 games for the rest of the season.
And that's for a chance.
That is a tall task. That's for a chance.
And that's
hoping that the rest of the guys. That'll get them to the point total. It'll get them to the point total that they estimate a team would need to make the playoffs.
I was at the Kraken game last Wednesday where the Kraken beat them 3-0, and I've never seen Islanders fans more upset with their team.
They should be. They lost to the Kraken and it got shut out. It's embarrassing.
Trotz and all this stuff, and that is not what you want. But they're not happy. Atlantic, the Panthers sitting at number 1. They're a game ahead of. Sorry, they're 3 points and a game ahead of Tampa at 2. Toronto sitting at 3. They played really well. And then Boston at 4 at 55 points. Detroit has 9 points behind, but they've also got 4 games. Boston has 4 games in hand, so I kind of the same as the other division. I think it's pretty much done.
Doubtful.
Yeah. In the Western Conference, Colorado sits at 1 at 68. 2 is Nashville. 3 Minnesota. 4 St. Louis. I mean, that division is they're
awesome.
Gonna beat the crap out of each other. And Dallas sits at 48. They're 9 points behind St. Louis with a game in hand. I think it's starting to also get the same way where this division might be locked up very, very quickly. Lastly, Pacific, and this division keeps changing over and over. It's crazy how this division is going. But Vegas sitting at first at 57 points. LA Kings now with 55 sitting at 2. They're actually looking at a defenseman and a scoring winger. Anaheim at 3, and then 4 is Calgary Flames. Edmonton's at 5. Edmonton does have 4 games in hand. Same does Calgary, so they do have a chance to get back into it. But they need to step it up, especially without their captain for a little bit. So we'll see what goes on in the Pacific.
I'll tell you what, LA looks good.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, the Rangers played them.
Like they're in a good spot. They're in a good spot right now. And as far as development goes, yeah, they're fun to watch.
I think they're gonna be buyers at the deadline. Try to make a real run.
Yeah. What's his name? Defenseman. He's the GM now. Why am I?
Rob Blake.
Rob Blake. Thank you. He's like I said, he talked about adding a defenseman and a scoring winger. So
that's the thing about, and I touched on it a little bit. I think last week. Teams like LA and possibly the Rangers, although not as much the Rangers, they really need to focus on getting a guy with term and not just getting a rental. Because, LA looks good, really good. But if they just get, 2, maybe 3 rentals, to even 2 rentals, I mean, it's just not what they need. So if they get a guy with, another year left, maybe 2 years left, that's, looking out, that'd be better for them, in my opinion. I
got the perfect candidate because I've heard his name now multiple times. Friend of the podcast, Brock Besser. He's got term. They're talking about him being a name that's slowly coming on the market. I mean, the Kings could definitely use someone like that. He's a scoring winger. And they do have some.
I think at this point with the Kings, though, what I do have to say is that they are in a position where they can start trading their first round picks because of how good their prospect pool is currently.
Yeah,
they are in a position to build their roster now around these kids and start giving up some of their first round picks.
Yeah, I mean, there was also talk about them maybe trading. Who's the rugged winger that they have on the third line? Dustin Brown. But I guess he's kind of found a pretty good place alongside Quentin Byfield on that third line. So I think they're going to keep him for a little while. I
really like Trevor Moore. Trevor Moore looks.
Yeah, Trevor Moore is really good. Yeah, Mikey Anderson looks really good too. I know he's hurt.
And the other defenseman. Can't think of his name.
Talking about LA Kings.
Another young kid. He's even run the power play too a little bit.
Oh, you're talking about
Jersey,
Brendan Lemieux, right?
His name?
Jersey, yeah, Jersey.
Oh yeah, Brendan Lemieux. That's
yeah,
who it
Brendan
was.
Lemieux's the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can we forget him?
Yeah, Dursey. Yeah, Sean Dursey.
Hello,
They still have
get
Olimata.
those
I forgot he's
Damn
still.
helmets. Take those helmets and shoot them right to the sun.
Yep. I mean, their defense, other than Drew Doughty, everybody's under 26. Bjorn Foote, they got Dursey, they got Mikey Anderson, Matt Roy is 26, Olimata's 27, so one gap. But yeah, I mean, Kempe's played really well. Kaliev is a lot of fun to watch. Victor Arvidsson, I think that was a bad trade. Yeah, I think that was a bad trade for Nashville, but they're, I guess they're doing pretty well. Iafallo, you still got Kopitar, you got Philip Deneau, obviously two guys that, can win Selkies.
I think Deneau is the favorite right now, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, he's played really, really well, and he's, scoring. He's
very good at faceoffs.
Yeah, I mean, he's fantastic at faceoffs.
The whole team is. Kopitar is amazing at faceoffs.
Kopitar is good too, yep.
Yeah. 25 points. The Rangers were looking into him too. I didn't think that it would be a smart idea, but I mean, he's played well enough that I think he could have been a really good ad. But
there's still. I mean, the contract is still.
Yeah, it's going to be an albatross. So. Yeah. But yeah, Rangers are talking about adding.
Everyone.
Well, they were talking about
Rangers got a lot of money. They got a lot of money. Rangers got a lot of money
to
spend.
A lot of money.
It's like.
And for just a 1 year rental, that's all they want is a 1 year rental. They'll take a shot at one guy. I mean, unless they can deal a contract, because next year is going to be tight up against the cap. But Braden Schneider's played well in that third pair, so they're talking. They don't think that they necessarily have to get a third pairing defenseman, and then obviously offensively we need a right winger. And I'd give a first round pick and a prospect for Joe Pavelski, and I wouldn't look back. And I think that's exactly what we need.
That is my guess.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to pay too much more than that, but I mean, a first and a decent prospect.
Drew also.
That's if Dallas wants to deal with him.
Claude Giroux.
If Dallas is making a playoff push, they can't afford to lose. They cannot afford to lose Pavelski. But of course, yeah, I mean, you can get a lot for him, right? You're saying a prospect and a number one, yeah, right? I would argue a number one, a prospect, and a roster player.
A roster player, yeah.
Ugh. I don't know that I do that. It means a rental. It
doesn't matter. Trade deadline acquisitions are always overpaid.
Then I'd rather pay for
always.
Hurdle. I'd rather go bigger and go at Hurdle than.
I don't think. First of all, Hurdle actually does perform well in the playoffs, but if I were you, I would absolutely prefer Pavelski. Pavelski is like the playoff guy.
No, he's like your prototypical playoff power forward.
And
he's a leader.
Could you imagine him and Kreider in front of the net just deflecting shots like crazy?
Oh, my God.
Jesus. Because those are the two best guys right now deflecting shots.
Damn puck 20 feet wide. He'll deflect it somehow in the friggin' net.
Jesus.
That should be your number one target.
No, I really do want Pavelski.
Without a doubt.
I do.
Because you're not getting Giroux. Ain't happening.
No, I don't think we're getting Giroux. It would be nice, but it's not going to happen.
He's going out
looking
west.
At the other names that are out there, I think that
he's just not going to the team in the Metro. It's just not going to happen. They don't.
No, the Rangers. The Rangers would have to really get fleeced to add someone like Claude Giroux. Number one in the points still Jonathan Huberdeau, 64, trailed by Draisaitl at 63, Kadri at 60, McDavid 60, and then Ovi at 58. Draisaitl leads the league in goals at 32. Assists, you got Huberdeau at 47. He's smoking everybody. Adam Fox is still there at 42, and he's hurt right now. He's also still
Huberdeau's
the leader.
He is absolutely the Hart Trophy winner at this point.
Yeah.
Watch him not even be nominated.
Without a doubt. Well, I mean, there's still another half of the season, but right now he is absolutely the number one guy for the.
Especially with Barkov being out for a little bit. I mean, he's held that team together. We just talked about defensemen with Mr. Foxy being number one at 47 points. You have Schwimm's boy at number
Haley
2.
Joel Osment.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I should have tied. Yeah, Haley Joe's tied. Yeah.
He won't be offended. He's right here.
10 goals, and then Cale Makar, 18 goals, leads all defensemen, 44 points. He's
insane. 18 goals. That's crazy.
they're talking about him being the Norris winner right now if the season was to end.
He is.
So,
Right now, he's the Norris winner,
Yeah.
yes.
which does suck because a guy like Adam Fox already he's 3 points off a career high, which was last year, and he's not going to win the Norris.
Well, last
beating his
year was
previous
half
highs.
half a season.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't half a season. It was.
It was a shortened season.
It was shortened.
All right. Well, anyways, the point is that he's having a better season than last year, and that's still like. I really do think that it's an old boys club, and you have to either have a ridiculous year than the last to win it multiple times in a row, or you just have to have zero competition. Because I still think he's, I know it's a 3-man race between him, Hedman, and Makar, and which sucks because Roman Yossi's having a great year too. And,
They're all great defensemen also on top of all these points.
Yeah.
But at some point, like if it comes down to the fact, like, I mean, I don't know, how many goals does Fox have?
He's got 7.
So he has 7 goals. So if they're
But he's got 40
reasonably
assists.
okay, so they're reasonably close in points. But Cal Makar has 18 goals right now. If you're voting right now, to me, with them being so close defensively, close enough in points, those 18 goals will, and of course, we all know the Norris almost always goes to the highest scoring defenseman.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna put him over the top, and I think it's well deserved.
I'm gonna tickle Steve a little bit. Chris Letang, number 5 in points at 41. He's having a very good season.
Yes, he is.
Sure is.
So,
I bet on him multiple times.
He needs to be locked up.
And
Contract.
then
not in jail.
Yeah, let's keep him out of jail, Steven.
And your future Vezina
Please.
winner, Igor Shesterkin, with a 210 goals against, a 937 save, which leads the league for games played. Freddie Anderson does beat him in goals against, but he's also on a shitty team. So, Igor Shesterkin, Vezina.
Right now, yes.
I'll take that. I'll sacrifice the Vezina, the Norris for the Vezina. I think that's a fair compromise.
Whatever.
Actually, it's funny. I was looking at the stats. I didn't realize Panarin's top 10, and he's having a pretty bad year actually. Like, if you watch him play, his 5-on-5 points is terrible.
All their 5-on-5 is terrible.
Yeah,
they're one of the worst teams 5-on-5. So let's not talk about them 5-on-5.
He's still doing very well for points. I'll take that. All right. You guys got anything else before we close out? You want to do trivia?
I had one other thing. Episode 80. What's a famous? What number player comes to mind? Number 80.
Nick Antropov.
Or Antropov.
I know. I did that last time when we were doing the numbers.
I don't remember that.
I know.
That was terrible.
We were doing the numbers, and I did that last time. I think it was funny.
Wasn't Kevin Weeks 80?
He sure was. That's who came to my mind first. Thing, number 80, Kevin Weeks.
No, it's Nick Antropov.
Good old Kevin.
Antropov.
Who holds
trivia?
Because it was All-Stars. Who holds the All-Star game record for best goals against average among all goalies who have played in at least 2 games?
Jesus. It could be anybody.
It's a former Ranger great.
Oh.
Is that sarcastic?
Very old Ranger. No.
I don't know.
Gilles Villemure had a .68 goals against average in 3 games.
No. Never even heard of him.
Next question.
Never heard of him. I don't know. Is there another All-Star game question that I have? Who are the first 2 goalies to get a shutout and a goal in the same game?
The first 2 goalies?
Yeah.
Wait, in an All-Star game?
I don't think it's an All-Star game question.
Is one of them Brodeur?
No. It's former LA King, I believe this guy played for.
Rogie?
And the other guy, who's Rogie?
Rogie Vachon?
Oh, no. Damian Rhodes? Didn't he play for the LA Kings?
Damian
played for
Rhodes?
Ottawa.
He played for Ottawa. He might have played for the Kings. I think he was on Toronto, Ottawa.
And then Jose Theodore was the other one.
Okay.
That's cool.
You didn't say Theodore. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
No, because I know that Theodore plays for the the Vegas Golden Knights. So I know my guys.
But how do you say his first name though? Shia.
Shay, you bastard.
Oh.
All right, let's see. I thought I had one more All-Star. Nope, no All-Star stuff. All right, well, screw you guys. We're going.
I have
going
a
home.
question for you guys. I found something
Go
very
ahead.
interesting today. I was going to look it up because I don't remember what it is. But of all the games, obviously we all know who Mark Recchi is. Played over 1,500 games, I think.
Not a Hall of Famer.
What was the closest out of both of you? What would you guess his career plus minus was at the end of his career?
Jesus.
Get off your phone.
Wait, what was that?
What
No, I'm
was
texting
Mark Recchi played 15, I think it was somewhere between 15 and 1,600, possibly over 1,600 games. What was his career plus minus by the end of his career?
Is it something absolutely ridiculous?
Bad, right?
The closest gets the prize. Actually, that's
I'll
not
say
true. You have to actually get close.
Minus 40 something.
Minus
Okay.
40. No.
Pick a 40 what? 44?
All right, maybe I'm close. Make it 49. Minus 49.
Minus 49. Okay. Schwim?
I was gonna say plus, or is it really that bad that he's being minuses?
I don't know. Just guess something.
I'll go.
I don't know. Yeah,
I'm
come
gonna
on,
go,
Schwim. Just guess the freaking question.
I'll go plus 454.
All right, you were both close. He was
What?
Even.
0. He was even. Isn't that good? So I find that so wild that you can play that many games, and at
even.
the end of
That's
your
crazy.
career, you're just even.
Yeah.
Even Steven.
I thought that.
Yeah,
found that to be pretty amazing. So I had to share it with
he's
you
also
guys.
the compiler, not a Hall of Famer, but it is what it is. All right.
He is in the Hall of Fame just because he was even.
Yeah,
and
maybe
that's
that's
amazing.
I
don't know. For some reason, the music does not want to play again. I don't understand this.
told you should just left it on the entire time. We'd been fine.
Yeah, but
Could've been done by now.
No, but it plays at 50%, so we have to talk louder to get through this thing. But
Sam, we need you
me and
back.
Sam are gonna have to do something. Yeah,
Who
well, I
hires
suck.
this guy?
All right, I'll give this a 4.25. Pretty good. Although, suck it, milk sugar. Get out of my beers.
Yeah.
4.0.
4 also. Tasty.
Yeah.
No lactose.
Schwim?
Actually, I have a trivia quote. Who said this? And it was somebody that we were just talking about.
Mike Richter.
Damn it! No,
Jules Vermeer.
it's an actor. I say luck is an opportunity when opportunity comes along, but you're prepared for it. Who said
John
it?
Hamm.
No.
Ben Affleck. Baffleck.
No, he's a very good actor. He's a very good actor.
Bruce Willis.
Say Bruce Willis. I was going to say Bruce Willis.
No. The
I don't
one,
know.
the only, Denzel Washington.
Denzel. We weren't just talking. We were talking about him separately.
Talk
not on
about
this podcast.
Denzel at all.
Goodbye.
Yeah, we were. I said before the show.